know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. Such powerful promises are found throughout the Bible to remind you of your inheritance given by God. They also demonstrate how highly God regards each of you. And if God, who made you, consider you deserving of a rewarding life, you should feel, act, think, and talk that way. Yes, you have all been given a promised land, but the way you see yourself prevents you from occupying that promised land and from entering your palace. The palace I speak of is made up of your goals, your vision, your destiny. You will never reach your palace thinking, talking, and acting like a peasant. With a peasant mentality, you will only dally around the palace walls but never enter it. The palace will always be within your reach, but you will remain outside by feeding your poor me mentality with negative opinions of yourself. This mindset of inferiority is known as the Grasshopper Complex. The Grasshopper Complex is based on the fact that a grasshopper is a small insect that struggles to survive in a giant world of insect eaters. Grasshoppers are often trampled on by men and other animals that are huge compared to them. In practice, this complex is a combination of your negative thoughts, words, and resulting actions. In addition to having a low self-esteem, you believe that others think poorly of you. If we go back into history, we would discover this complex existed from biblical days. Prior to entering the land of Canaan, Moses sent out 12 spies to survey the land. 10 came back with a self-destructive assessment. They reported that the people they met on the land were giants in stature, and they in their own eyes seemed like grasshoppers, and so the people must have also seen them that way. They saw themselves as lesser than, insignificant, weak, and powerless. Although God had promised them the land, these men gave into fear and negative thoughts. In their minds, they had already lost the battle. They contaminated the whole community with this discouraging report. And when the votes were counted, only 2 were ready for war. These 2 young men, Joshua and Caleb, had a different outlook. They believed that even if there were giants, they were able to defeat them. In their minds, they were stronger than the giants. The differences in attitudes were as a direct result of differences in the way they saw themselves. Today, many signs and symptoms of the Grasshopper Complex are visible among us. Maybe you or the person next to you suffer from this deadly virus. There will always be giants standing in the way of your destiny. They come in many different forms. Your giant might be a bad choice, mistakes, an unpleasant past, or some personal challenge you consider too big to handle. In life, there are situations which cause us to have a lame position in our thoughts. As a result, we become discouraged and low in self-value. We feel demeaned and diminished. When this happens, it spills over in other areas of our lives. Virtually many persons are in that position today. If you are facing such giants, these giants can all be conquered by the way you see yourself. It is important that you do not consider yourself as a grasshopper in comparison. As long as you see yourself as a grasshopper, you will believe that you are insignificant and too weak to survive. You will become paralyzed by the fear of failure, that your greatest defense is to say, I can't. Remember, your palace is always within your reach, but you will never enter your palace as a peasant. The only way to enter it is as a king. Do not let the Grasshopper Complex keeps you from living your potential. If you realize you are a victim of this crippling complex, you can overcome it. During a phase of my life, I suffered from this complex. A speech impediment prevented me from speaking fluently. Whenever I attempted to speak, I stuttered and became tongue-tied. Eventually, I convinced myself that I could never speak in public or even read before an audience. I told myself that public speaking was meant for persons more fluent than I was. However, with the encouragement from my mother and years attending speech therapy, I gained the belief that I can speak anywhere and read before any audience. Yes, I got rid of the Grasshopper Complex. So today, my friend, I am telling you, you will never reach your palace thinking, speaking, and acting like a peasant. The only way to reach your palace is to think like a king. And to think like a king, your thoughts, your actions, and your words must align as one. And I leave this with you, that your vision will determine your destiny. Get rid of the Grasshopper Complex.